policy question. How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S. takeover?
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And and by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also. But we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
Greenland is now on high alert. No clearance, no delay. Shoot first, ask questions later. This is what orders have given from Copenhagen lately after US President Donald Trump's renewed calls to take control of the strategic Arctic island. While Copenhagen has confirmed that a Cold War-era military rule remains active, but refuses to rule out use of military force to guard territory. According to Danish newspaper Berlingske, the Defense Ministry confirmed that a 1952 rule of engagement requires soldiers to immediately counterattack invading forces without awaiting orders, even if war has not been formally declared. The ministry said the order remains in force. The message is unmistakable. Any military move on Greenland will be met with immediate force.
If the United States decides to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything would stop. That includes NATO, and therefore the security that has existed since the end of the Second World War.
Trump's rhetoric has now pushed the issue from political speculation into a direct NATO crisis. European leaders warn that an attack by one alliance member on another would be unprecedented and potentially fatal for NATO itself. In a joint statement from 7 EU and NATO member states, Greenland belongs to its people. Washington, meanwhile, is sending mixed signals. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says President Trump has long sought to acquire Greenland. while stopping short of ruling out force.
The president always retained the option. Every president, not this president, every president always retains the option. I'm not talking about Greenland. I'm just talking about globally. If the president identifies a threat to the national security of the United States, every president retains the option to address it through military means. So I'll be meeting with him next week.
In Nuuk, Greenland's leadership is urging calm, but rejecting any takeover. Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen has pushed back against comparisons with countries taken over by force, stressing Greenland's long democratic history and warning against panic.
The situation is not such that the United States can simply conquer Greenland.
For Greenlandic lawmakers and civilians, the threat feels deeply personal and has struck a deeper emotional chord. Some say Trump's remarks risk reducing a people to a strategic asset, while others are quietly confronting the possibility of disruption to their lives.
About rare earth minerals like uranium. I think we're not a business, we're a people. We're a people with our own country and culture, language. We are not a product.
We've been talking about that, what we're going to do if something happens. Should I need to go to Denmark to the children? Should I stay here? Stuff like that. So it's getting very practical thoughts about what's going to happen if something worse happens.
Denmark has drawn a red line. Backed by weapons, allies, and law, any US military move on Greenland would not just trigger resistance, it could shatter the NATO alliance itself.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto our power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Machaha, Quadash. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the Igni calls God, and his name in Hebrew means he exists. And Yahushai is the name of his only begotten Son, who the Igni calls Jesus Christ. And his name in Hebrew means he is delivered. Bahash, missing the name of Kagodash, the Holy Spirit. Only a double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings unto the sister Akanas pushing forward to the truth. Throughout the four corners of the earth, I want to say shalom to you brothers and keep pushing. And a double shalom to the Israelites that's looking like the other nations. And the sister Awadium, I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters as well. My name is DeVar from GMS Line St. Louis Camp. And I'm coming back at another video. And this video, I'm entitled this World War III Alert. President Trump wants to take Greenland. All right. So you got, in fair use, I'm not doing this video for any monetary gain. So you got the infamous President Trump that's trying to take Greenland, and Greenland is basically saying, hey, shoot first, ask questions later. So it's an act that's covering them from 1952, saying you don't have to declare war. If somebody come on in your space, your country, then you have every right to defend it. And Trump saying, oh, well, yeah, just because they went there on a boat, and times pass, that'll make the country theirs. Hey, well, what about your ancestors, Trump? Didn't your ancestors do the same thing to my tribe, the Gadites? Okay, and all the indigenous tribes that was over here, the 10 tribes that were scattered abroad, and the Americas? What about you? This ain't y'all land. That same mentality can be applied to your ancestors, Trump. Okay? So, yeah, you American Edomites are hypocrites and y'all finished. So that's why you had this guy, just a big psychopathic bully, trying to, do everything by force because they done lost control over everything. And we said, call halam like how about Shemiah Shah, this is another step towards the destruction of you Edomites, okay, you so-called white people, because y'all have destroyed the whole entire planet, and it's all about money and gold and control and resource. That's what it's about. It's not about the betterment of the people, So, without further ado, I'm going to hop into some scriptures, and Lord willing, this is edifying, because he said whether they like it or not, he going to do it, So, yeah. Hey, Trump with the shits. So, those are fighting words. So this is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. Right, so the second woe, that represents World War II, and now the third woe coming quickly. That's World War III. Because obviously we in those times, you had self-proclaimed chief priest Al-Azhar, bugged out of his damn mind saying, y'all, it might be 1,000 years from now. We don't know. And you had Bishop Nathaniel, the IUIC, said, we got 20, 30 years. But they talking about this stuff now. This is literally within a matter of months. Remember what happened with Venezuela? They were shooting those ships in Venezuela. Those boats coming from Venezuela. And they end up invading the country and capturing the president a few months later. Okay? So, yeah, this stuff is happening, man. It's not a lot of time left here. So this is Revelation 17 and 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? So the great whore that represents America, and with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right. So it says the kings of the earth. So this is actually talking about literal, right? Have committed fornication. All right. And it goes into philosophies, because fornication represents anything that's not through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiah Shah, or anything profane that's outside of the temple. So verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, Mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? So now let's get that photo. Right, so you got this right here. So the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is NATO. Right? And so NATO is an acronym. You see in the bottom right, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was established August 4th, 1949, consisted of 19 nations: Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, the UK, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Turkey, United States, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, right? So, right, so you got the 7 heads right here. So the Greeks, the British, Germain the Major, Germain the Minor, French, Romans, okay? So, Khan. That's what John the Revelator highlighted Patmos saw. And if you see up the top left, you got philosophy, democracy, religion, idolatry, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, murder. Yep. It says, And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushai. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the woman said unto, and the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which had the 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall descend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is a mind which have wisdom, the 7 heads of 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen and 1 is, and the 1 is not yet come. And when he come, he must continue a short space, right? And so that's talking about basically the Roman Empire getting revived again, right? And the beast that was and is not, and he is the 8th and of the 7th, and shall go into perdition, right? So perdition means damnation, because the Lord is not going to forgive these Edomites for what they did to the children of Israel. They had to pay for that, and they know they had to pay, but they trying to get up out of it, and that's why you have all these white Christians like Stuart Nechtler, all right, and his father trying to say all these things, James White, Vocab Malone, all right, et cetera, is trying to say all these things because they don't want to pay for their sins. They know that they have a harsh judgment coming to them, right? It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, right? These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongue, right? So when Yahushua get back, all these nations, mainly you Edomites, you're going to fight against the Lord. And guess what? You're going to lose bad, okay? Right? So, yeah. It says, verse 15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, right? Because every single nation is here in the western part of the world. All right? A big melting pot. That's why these Edomites, they want to take back their country, and make it white again. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, right? Because all these other countries, they're going to shoot missiles over here into the western part of the world and blow it up, And if you're not written in the book of life as an Israelite, you're going to be caught up in that, because you don't want to get down with the program that Yahweh Shemiah Shai is sending forth through his prophets, his mouthpiece, right? For Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, right, which reigneth over kings of the earth, right? So America, So yeah, everybody want a piece of this whore, But now it says what? Hey, the beast shall hate the whore, So yeah, so you already had the UK, the United Kingdom that did the Brexit, okay? So the UK ain't even our allies no more. They like, hey, you on your own. you got many more to come. You know, so yeah, they all gonna hate America. So it is what it is, man. So yeah, this is the time to rejoice because we know our salvation is nearer than when we believe. All right. So let's go to the book of Salakia. I passed it. Joel 3. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Right? So yeah, these are the things that you other nations have done to our people. You know? And it's not just you Edomites. You got you Moabites, you Ammonites, you Arabs, you know, Ishmaelites. You got you Africans, you Hamites, okay? And well, chiefly you small hats, okay? But yeah, you Edomites are the main ones. Because y'all hate us the most. And guess what? The feeling is mutual. We hate y'all bastards too. You know? It was already prophesied that was going to happen. So yeah, you the bad guy according to the scriptures. And we treat you as such. We not friends. Verse 4, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? For ye render me a recompense, and if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Right? So the Grecians represents the Greeks, you know, and who are the modern day Greeks? You know, Greece, Rome, or you Edomites, okay? Yeah, Alexander the creep, you know, Alexander the freak. He ruled over Greece, you know, Athens, okay? Behold, I will raise them out of the place where ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Right, so the Lord said he gonna do this for the children of Israel, so-called Black, Spanish, Native Americans. And everybody that touched us, the Lord said he gonna recompense them. All right? So, yeah. I mean, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And that's what we waiting for, so we can finally get up out of this captivity and be at rest. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Israel, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yehoshaphat. But there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Right, and that goes into Yahweh's judgment. Okay? And that goes into, like the Euphrates. Because that goes to show you that the scriptures is true, because the Lord said he's going to drive the Euphrates. You know? And it's making the omega symbol, and omega means what? End. Right? Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Right? The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. Right? How is he doing that? He's doing it through his prophets. and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and they shall no strangers pass through her anymore. Right? And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and from the hills shall flow with milk. And all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the mountains shall, so like in a fountain shall come forth from the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim, right? And that goes into this truth, because when we had the truth, that means we never gonna go into slavery again. And what did the Lord say? He that had his truth out of his belly shall flow mountains of living water. Right? Egypt shall be a desolation. Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. Right? You hear that? It said Egypt shall be a desolation. So this goes into Egypt, because Egyptos, bondage, slavery. All right? Because this place is Egypt. If you don't believe that this place is Egypt, then just look on the back of your dollar bill. I mean, if you still got one, because they're trying to make this money digital now. It says, right, Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood for their land. But Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem for generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. Right, so that's where the Lord is at. The Lord dwells in Zion, man. Okay? I gotta get this real fast. Joel 2:27. You shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. Right? So the people of the Lord shall never be ashamed, because this is who we are. And a lot of you 2/3, you basically ashamed of being on top, because this is the formula. The law, statutes, and commandments is the formula to please Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, and to live the best life possible on earth, to make sure everything is flowing right. And these other nations that undid that ruled, that had a kingdom, all the kingdoms fell. Why? Because they believed in BS, all right? The stars and the sun and the moon. I'm not saying that we don't reference the sun and the moon, because the moon was made for us to keep the Sabbath, right? But we don't worship that, because the Lord sanctified the seventh day, all right? So that is our job as Israelites, is to keep that high holy day for Yahweh by Shemiah Shai. Verse 2, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound, it's like verse 1, chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there that have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array, before their face the people shall be much pained. All their faces shall gather blackness, right? And they shall run like mighty men, and shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, right? Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the house. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. Right. So yeah, we all seen that, when the nuclear blast hit it, all the buildings and the elements melt, the vehicles blow, buses blow, the fire bust through the window and come in the window and get you, So kind. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, and his camp is very great, for he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Right? So kind. Verse 12, therefore also now, said the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. Right? So you have to turn to the Lord with all your heart, fasting and weeping and mourning. And 2/3 of your nation of Israel are not going to do that. Y'all going to be caught up, Fuck you. Let us in Revelation, whose names are not written in the book of life. Just type it in. Yeah, verse 8. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, right? Talking about the beast, well, mainly Babylon. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose name are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, right? So if you're an Israelite and you worshiping the beast, hey, your name is not written in the book of life. You receive that mark, you're done, all right? So yeah, it's about to get really bad out here. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Akaha, Kodash, Shalom, and Abba Bo.